This episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast is brought to you by Times Cineplex. Hey guys, it's Kev.
What's up? This is Naz.
I am Tibby.
This is Del.
And y'all know who this is.
And we are
The Wayang Crew.
Oh yeah.
Hey, welcome back everyone to another episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast. It's me, Kevin, once again. Your company, as usual, on this weekly podcast where we talk about all things movies, especially movies that are playing here in Brunei Darussalam. Up next, it's my co-host, it's Del.
Hello.
What's up?
Nothing's up.
All right.
Unless you consider the ceiling or the sky.
It's my ceiling.
I don't know how to answer this question anymore.
Okay. We'll try again later. Up next, it's the other co-host of the Wayang Crew Podcast. It's Kai.
Alan. I will go by that name now. I'm kidding. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good.
Nice.
All right.
1 response out of 4.
I was just wondering why Alan.
It's the
Well, it's 'cause,
raptor.
okay, before we started recording, we had to show Del the clip from Jurassic Park 3 where there was a raptor talking on screen, and it's a dream sequence by Alan Grant. It's like his dream. Because Del had never watched it, and that's
No, I've seen it. I've seen
you
the
have?
movie. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the word of the day, Alan.
Because
Alan.
I was just asking for the benefit of the listeners.
All right.
Right,
Okay. That's for context.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, she's been gone for the last couple of episodes because it has been Raya, but she's back. It's Naz.
Hello.
Hello. Selamat Hari Raya.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Yep.
Eid Mubarak.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, let's start the show as usual. Let's get to movie news. Check this out, guys. Kevin Feige once again has teased quote-unquote announcements about more female MCU directors.
Cool.
Yeah, I think
That's great.
He's like taking a play from Warner Brothers. You know how they have Patty Jenkins and how
Yeah.
she's doing a good job. She did a good job with Wonder Woman and upcoming Wonder Woman 1984. And there's this back and forth about how they're looking for a female director for the not rumored anymore. This is sort of confirmed Black Widow movie.
Boo.
Right, yeah.
What? Why does she need her own movie?
It's a question that we have talked about, but we can't seem to find an answer. But you know, if it means having more movies, I don't think it's going to be an origin.
I don't think so. I think it's...
Oh, maybe it's gonna have Cap and the rest.
Probably.
Maybe.
I'm guessing it's... look, the way I see it, they're what, 19, 20 movies in now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In some shape or form, almost all the movies are important
Yeah.
to the overall narrative.
Like
So-
they will connect and they will
yeah,
explain.
so I don't
something.
imagine Kevin Feige sitting down and thinking like, oh, I'll just do this for fun.
Yeah.
You know, so
Because-
I'm sure there's a reason.
because I want to.
Yeah, although he technically could, but I mean, I think knowing Marvel, they've knocked it out of the park almost every time now.
True.
Yeah, it's true.
No, I think it could be set in not so distant past, maybe.
Mother
Like
Russia.
Russia
What?
during the World Cup.
What?
We don't know. She said Mother Russia. I thought the World Cup. This is where we are.
Okay.
I wasn't going Russia. I was going Budapest.
Budapest.
So it could be Black Widow. I remembered Budapest very differently from Hawkeye.
All right, because they mentioned
yes,
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a something between
I
them.
Guess you...
Right. I think the rumored name was "I Know What You Did Last Budapest."
Oh no. No. We have to move on. Next bit of news. Guardian of the Galaxy's Sean Gunn, who is the brother of James Gunn.
Yes.
And he has been well known to play Rocket Raccoon and also Groot, I think, for the first movie. He was a stand-in.
A lot of the motion capture stuff.
Yeah, and then his brother put him in the movie, and now he's become one of the beloved characters named Kraglin.
Who wasn't in Infinity War.
Yeah, he wasn't in Infinity War, but he has teased that there will be more of him as Kraglin in Avengers 4.
Really?
Which means...
Spoiler alert.
Which means the Guardians would have summoned him or called him out and, we need your help. Well, who's left in the Guardians? Rocket's left.
Yes. Rocket's left.
Plus the original Guardians, maybe?
Maybe
I totally know about the Guardians world. I
Okay.
totally watched the second one.
Oh, okay.
We forgot about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, are you open for this bit of news?
Yeah.
seeing more of him.
I don't mind. He's actually craggly good. Really good.
Kraglin.
Nice.
Somebody made a pun.
He's actually funny. He
Yeah,
brings
yes.
like a whole different kind of humor.
I enjoyed
I was
his
expecting
presence.
him to be in that ship when we first met Guardians.
Yeah.
In Infinity War. What's the
Yeah.
ship called again?
The Milano.
The
No,
Milano.
that wasn't the Milano. Milano was
Maybe
destroyed.
he escaped
Yeah,
with...
no.
Milano.
This was the Madrido, I think.
No, it's another 80s actress.
I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't
Okay.
matter. Next bit of news. There is a rumor that Nicolas Cage has joined the voice cast of Sony's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
It's confirmed.
Oh, really?
Oh,
His Spider-Man Noir.
yeah.
Oh, so cool. I don't mind.
Really? Nicolas Cage
Why don't
He'll just sound like this.
in a Spider-Man?
Parker.
I mean,
Pure Parker.
That was pretty close.
Alan.
That was pretty close. No, not Alan.
where is my spider suit? Give me a bit of background about Spider-Man Noir.
I will leave that to our resident Spider-Man fan, Naz.
Spider-Gwen herself.
I don't like Spider-Gwen.
Oh.
No, I really don't like Spider-Gwen. Like I've read the comics. I don't like it.
But what about Spider-Man Noir?
Yeah, Spider-Man Noir.
Spider-Man Noir.
Shares the same middle name as me.
Okay.
So
I've
bad.
never heard of this Spider-Man Noir.
Me neither.
He's a vigilante Spider-Man from an alternate Earth. It was called Marvel Noir, I think, right? That series.
Being noir,
Oh,
noir
okay.
is he black and white?
The art was in the
The
comic
art
book.
was in the comic, right? Okay.
And it's very pulpy. It's very hit 'em up, Dashiell Hammett style. But other than like the first chapter, I never read anything else.
Okay, so Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a true crossroad for all these different Spider-Mans from all the different universes.
Okay, yeah, it just got me excited. Woo.
All right, that's coming out in December of this year, 2018. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Here's a movie that Dell might be interested to know of. It's X-Men: Dark Phoenix. There's been a lot of like back and forth because of this whole Disney buying over Fox thing, whether or not it's still coming out or whether it will be delayed
Or go to streaming.
or go to streaming. Apparently, it hasn't been removed from Fox's schedule, so it's still on track. They just haven't really announced when it's coming out.
I thought they have.
They have,
It's the first quarter of next year.
yeah, first quarter, but they haven't locked down like an actual date.
They
Have
haven't?
they?
I don't think they have.
They haven't. Yeah.
No.
Okay. I just remembered I blogged about this.
You blogged about it. Okay.
In other news, Dell
Yeah.
blog.
I wasn't trying to, but you guys made me do it. Anyway, we can move on first while I look it up.
We made you do it. Explain that, Del.
Sure, Dell.
Because there was a long silence and I didn't know what else to say. And you all were looking at me.
You know that I could edit that silence out.
Shush. But in the heat of the moment, or in the silence of the moment,
Next bit of news. We saw this actor, Louis Tan. He played Statterstar in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he says that he'll probably return for an X-Force movie.
Oh.
X-Force, well, he said that quite, I think a month ago, but there has not been any official news from Fox.
Yeah, no official news from Fox, but he's sort of like saying, I think I'll come back.
He wants to, I'm sure.
He also hinted that he may have a DC meeting, right?
Yes.
Apparently he spoke to Chris McKay, director of Nightwing.
Yeah, which is the next bit of news, which I was going to bring up. He says that he's met with DC about the Nightwing movie.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's a good fit for that. Like, I could see him in it, but he's kind of in the Fox Marvel universe now.
That's why I'm thinking if he has gone into meetings with DC, he may not be in X-Force. He may be dead. Oh, spoiler.
Spoiler
Deadpool
alert.
2.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But spoiler over spoiler,
There's a time travel thing.
there's a time travel thing. So
Yep.
he could have been saved.
Spoiler over spoiler over spoiler. I just wanted to say that. I don't actually have anything.
You have nothing. Okay.
Ant-Man.
More on Fox. Anyone here an Alien fan?
I used to be until Covenant came out.
Well, that didn't do very well. So the rumor is that an Alien TV series could be in the franchise's future.
I'd rather the franchise not have a future.
Oh.
I'm just drawing savage bombs today. How y'all doing?
But didn't Ridley Scott say that he'll just keep on making Alien movies?
Yeah, I think he has like 20 scripts in production right
Something like that.
Yeah.
But he's like 90?
now. No, he's like 70s.
Okay.
He's in his 70s.
So he'll
He'll
stick
be
around.
90 by the time they're done.
I mean, I don't know how an Alien TV series will shape up. Like,
I think so. What it is, right? A lot of announcements we get regarding these beloved pop culture franchises, the final result is always like tangential. So like they're saying there could be an Alien TV show, but it could literally just be about like the Marine Corps in that world. You know, like it will not actually be about aliens. It'll be like a bunch of guys on the side whose stories were never told.
like LV-426 and
Yeah,
like the last days of that colony.
Yeah. You know, I
Like-
don't doubt it.
Rogue One
Yeah.
with no Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what's gonna happen, right? Like there's only so much to tell.
True. But I would watch it just to see how bad it could be, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, let's jump camps over to Warner Brothers.
Before
and...
we jump
Oh, whoa.
camp, sorry, back at Fox's camp,
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix last reported was to be scheduled to come out on 14th of February.
Oh,
Next
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day, though.
Oh,
From Fox.
great.
We shall
you.
see. Okay, jumping over now. Over to Warner Brothers and DC. The Aquaman movie cast is to appear on the Conan show during Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Now, Conan O'Brien has moved his show over to San Diego Comic-Con, and he takes up one of the halls and he broadcasts his show live from
Wow.
Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets, all the stars to come in. Like, it's like its own panel.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
great.
much.
Right.
So this is like the first publicity thing that we've heard is going to happen for Aquaman.
Oh.
So the director's gonna be there. Jason Momoa's gonna be there. I'm guessing Amber Heard's gonna be there as well.
Patrick Wilson, I think.
Yeah,
a
Patrick
bunch
Wilson
of
will be
them,
there as well. Are we looking forward to this?
Aquaman's one of those things where I'll see it to believe it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we haven't seen anything at all.
I
We've
think
seen
it's a
pictures.
good thing that
Yeah.
we don't see. Because
Because
we don't
you-
have expectations.
Yeah, they released a bunch of pictures via Entertainment Weekly a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
I have to say, aesthetically, it is very close to the comic books. It's actually,
Ah.
the comic books are some of the best comic books ever written. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
it-
Aquaman.
It really is.
Oh,
We'll just have to see. Probably catch the Conan show over the next week.
I'm more excited for the trailer than the panel itself.
Yeah.
I'm more excited for Conan.
Yeah, I have to agree.
All right.
Funny, is it?
Can you do his hip movement dance, hip dancing?
Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo.
No, but I can do Alan.
We've talked about the mustache gate for Justice League and how there was a big issue about them not playing well with Paramount over Henry Cavill's mustache. Apparently, the director for Mission Impossible has said that he tried
To CGI it?
No, to accommodate the Justice League reshoots.
Okay.
But he said that fake mustaches don't stick when you're going at 100 miles an hour. I think this is when
Yeah, that's true.
when he's
Sure, Chris.
Was it when he was skydiving or something?
there are scenes of him in a helicopter just leaning out and
Yeah.
while he's chasing Ethan Hunt and the Impossible Mission Force team, whatever it is. That's coming out
Right.
So
end of July.
So he went and tried it, right? Put some guy with fake mustache in a helicopter and see if it flies off.
Probably.
Yeah, so he tested it out,
I
right?
think they hired like a wind tunnel for like a day and like different glues to see.
Blue tag,
The question still
double-sided tape.
the question still has to come up, like, why didn't they just do it in CG? Like, you could CG on a mustache. That's much
I
easier.
think here's my thinking. Nobody expected Justice League to go through those reshoots.
Yeah, that's true.
Like when Christopher McQuarrie and Paramount planned this, they were like, "Okay, yes, we need a mustache." That is a different discussion altogether, by the way. Why you would put a mustache on Henry Cavill? I honestly
Why
don't
not?
think. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that the biggest problem facing a movie like Justice League
was a mustache.
was a mustache? Like when you say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous.
it tells you how bad everything has become in Justice League when they're making it.
Do you mean Warner Brothers?
Warner Bros. Yeah.
Okay. This has come up many, many times on the podcast, and even tonight, it came out just before we recorded. Kai is a big proponent, and he's a big supporter of the fact that The Last Jedi was the worst movie of 2017. And he's not alone. As a Star Wars fan, there is a sort of fund me thing happening right
Yeah.
now, where they're trying to get money to remake The Last Jedi,
yeah.
and it's made by fans for fans. And apparently they have like a secret backer who says that he will match it dollar for dollar. Now this supposed fund me is now totaling more than $400 million.
Yeah.
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 400
They-
million.
Who is
they-
putting in money for this?
They've got a crazy amount signed up.
For now, it's pledges. Like people
Yeah.
have pledged, so nothing's been deducted yet.
There's no money
No
in
money has
hand.
changed
Yeah.
hands. But people have signed over and go like, you know what? I have $100. If this comes to fruition, I will give $100 to this cause. They just released a poster,
Oh, it's the mock poster.
the mock poster of what they think Star Wars: The Last Jedi remake could be, and it looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
It looks like something out of the 70s.
Actually,
When you say ridiculous,
so what happens is that is actually a poster designed by somebody who's making fun of the whole remake idea.
Yeah.
So it's basically Luke Skywalker as a topless buff guy. It's very as Kevin said. It's
As
like,
in he has 8 packs.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's like making fun of the whole thing that
Okay.
you want to remake a movie.
He's parodying the whole thing.
Yeah, but it is crazy to think we live in a point in pop culture where a bunch of guys on the internet can come up with $400 million
$400 million.
to remake a movie that they don't like. It's scary.
Do you think that if they could raise the money and this reaches $1 billion, because they're at 400 now and they have a mysterious backer who says that he will match it dollar for dollar. If they reach that $500 million mark, that takes it up to $1 billion, supposedly.
Right.
Do you think Disney would budge?
No, absolutely not.
No way.
Disney's gonna touch it. They said they're gonna make it themselves, right? These
Yes.
No.
guys.
They said the
they
idea
want-
is they want Disney to approve this.
Of
Yeah.
course not.
No,
That's
Disney won't do that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I just had to ask
Disney
that
has-
question to sort of explain the Wayang Crew's position on this.
Yeah.
We are not in support of this.
Um,
As bad as
Oh.
that.
No, I
Kai
think-
said,
no. Like it's a matter of practicality, right? Like you hear it and you laugh.
Yeah.
Like if that's the case, let's remake DCEU.
yeah.
Start from scratch.
Yeah, like these things.
Yeah.
They don't have any weight.
It's not going to happen,
Would-
right?
Do I want $400 million? Absolutely. Kaida_27@gmail.com.
Now, we spoke about Star Wars. Let's shift over to Star Trek. There's a Quentin Tarantino movie apparently in the works. Now, his movie may include the J.J. Abrams cast.
Yeah, I thought that was understood.
Well, they were trying to sort of figure out how they're going to shift over to a possible R-rated film.
Right, yeah.
Because it's under Quentin.
But Zachary Quinto said that he's doing 2 films.
He is.
Yeah.
So he said it.
He's the one who... So he spilled the beans on the fact that Star Trek 4 has a female director. Mm-hmm. And he also said that they're doing 2 movies at the same time.
Ah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it will be the Enterprise appearing in the Tarantino one.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is just confirming that they will
okay.
be using the same cast.
Yeah. I
Because
understand.
apparently
The
now
Kelvin
we're in
timeline.
the Kelvin
Yeah,
timeline
we are.
Right.
where they're all young.
So I will always assume that it's going to be another ship, but maybe these guys will come in as cameos.
Oh,
Possible, yeah, because the next one is about time travel.
wasn't the first one about time travel as well?
They're about to close the gap, I believe.
Ah.
Chris Hemsworth is back as George Kirk.
Oh,
You knew this, right?
I sort of knew it, but then, we were always up in the air about whether or not the characters would actually appear in Quentin Tarantino's, but this news sort of, I guess, solidifies it a little bit. Okay. Jurassic World 3. Now, the director, Colin Trevorrow, has welcomed the idea of Laura Dern and Sam Neill returning to the series.
Oh, they got my money.
Oh, Alan.
Yeah.
Alan.
Alan!
Wait, no, I want Alan there.
Yeah.
How about Ellie?
Yeah, actually, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
I think he's maybe trying to appease the hardcore fans.
Who didn't like part 2?
Yeah, who gave a lot of hate for Fallen Kingdom, which is a movie that we've reviewed on past episodes of this podcast.
Yeah.
It hasn't got a great reception.
Not really.
Although it has crossed $1 billion at the worldwide box office.
Nice.
And it sort of pushed Colin Trevorrow to say that, don't worry, by the time we get to Jurassic World 3, there will be no more man-made splicing of dinosaurs. I think that would be a good chance to get Sam Neill and Laura Dern back.
And they
Yeah, it
should
makes
get Jeff
sense.
Goldblum to go like, you were so preoccupied with whether or not you could. You didn't stop to think if you should.
And then, now you're selling it.
Life finds a way.
Here's a bit of nostalgia for you guys. We've mentioned that Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun 2 is in production, and we have Tom Cruise reprising his role as Maverick.
Yeah.
And of course, Iceman is back.
Yes, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer is in.
Wow.
Miles Teller has been cast
Really?
as Goose's son.
Yes. Because I believe the original actor passed away. Oh, no, that character.
No, the character
The
passed
character
away.
died.
Yeah.
The character
He
died.
died in that training accident.
Yeah.
So we were like, woo.
Yeah.
So he can't come back.
No, you can't.
Unless there's like a Deadpool 2 situation happening. But then Goose's son, so this is sort of indicating where the story is maybe going.
Yeah.
I think Maverick is taking a
He's the
instructor role.
yeah.
And then he's got his best friend's son who died in his arms, quite literally, in the movie. But Miles Teller, I mean, he was Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four.
Oh, wow, I forgot about that.
Miles
Yeah.
is okay.
He was good in Whiplash.
He was
Yeah,
good in
he was
a
good.
lot of
Yeah,
things.
he was good in Whiplash.
By the end of this sequel, I'm sure Tom Cruise and him will be in the cockpit together.
Yes, in the cockpit.
It's
There's an internal joke happening here.
no wonder.
No, not really. Anyway, A Quiet Place, which is a movie that we thought very highly of this year from a very surprising director and writer, John Krasinski, who stars and directed and wrote the movie. He says that a sequel is in place, but it won't be rushed.
Nice.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Oh, Dell's having a good laugh.
Sure, whatever. Sure.
Sometimes the cynicism is so
I
evident.
mean, what else? What else can you say? Like, if it doesn't come out, I'm still working on it. Don't rush me. But if it is out already, this is a perfect script, and we are ready to shoot.
A Quiet Place apparently is just as good if you have a proper home cinema setup.
Yeah.
And you bring it home. Because I saw some reviews. It's out on Blu-ray. And they say that, it makes very good uses of, height channels and, just to give you the whole experience. Although it is, as we mentioned in our review, quiet movie.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is a quiet movie.
You could hear people eating popcorn so loud.
Exactly.
You hear the chewing.
I had to tell my friend sitting next to me, dude, don't breathe so hard. Here's a movie that is not gonna be quiet. It's the spin-off movie from the Fast and Furious series, starring Dwayne Johnson and of course Jason Statham. Idris Elba has been announced as the villain for this spin-off movie. I think that's a good fit because
They're all bald.
He's a. That's true. They are.
They're all bald.
And British.
Oh, just very short
Except
hair.
for-
I don't know, except for The Rock.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, but it makes sense. The bad guys are British.
yeah. He'll have a fancy accent
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, Dwayne.
he'll probably have his original London street accent.
Yeah, probably would.
Idris Elba in anything is a good thing.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
He'll be like the next movie redeemer.
Oh,
You know, like how The Rock.
Oh,
makes
right,
movies
yeah, yeah.
good.
Ah,
So if you
okay,
put
okay.
Idris Elba, it'll just be good.
They should get him in the DCEU then.
Ho ho ho!
Did you guys know that Idris Elba actually DJs on the side?
Really?
Yeah, and he's an MC as well.
No
So
way.
yeah, his stage name is Big Driss.
No way.
Big dress.
Yeah, I'm serious. Google it. Big Driss.
Nice.
Idris Elba. Next bit of
That's
news.
so cool.
Next bit of news. There is a movie from Sony called Khali the Killer, right? And I didn't hear about this movie. I think it was like a very B-grade kind of thing. Maybe one of their Fox Searchlight Pictures kind of projects where they tried to highlight up-and-coming filmmakers. Maybe. I know nothing about this movie. Apparently, the movie is about a guy who, after deciding to retire from East LA, he's a hitman, and then he tries to take one last job to help support his ailing grandmother. Okay? So it's like, one of those movies where
One of those
it's like
movies.
One last job.
yeah, one last job, last dish effort kind of thing. Sony was gonna release a trailer to announce the DVD release for this movie. On the official Sony YouTube channel, someone from Sony
Release the film.
uploaded the whole film.
No.
They did.
So what? It's they've taken it down then.
They've taken it down, but
As usual, it's on the internet.
Nah, I think it's a marketing ploy
really?
just to create some noise.
Please see our movie.
Yeah,
Well, the interview went through the same thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Except that became a political problem, but
yeah.
to interview James Franco.
Yes.
South North Korea.
Oh, that was a whole hacking thing.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the news this week on the Wayang Crew Podcast. Up next, we'll be doing a review of a movie we all saw this week. It's the latest Marvel movie that is showing in Brunei. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp, who we did not see in Avengers Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah. And just an announcement for you guys out there. Time Cineplex has very graciously given us some goodies to give away. We've got t-shirts, we've got keychains, and we have one pen drive.
We
right?
do.
So check that out on our official Instagram page at The Wayang Crew. That's on Instagram. And we'll have details there on how you can win. And this contest is open to anyone all over the world. We'll mail this stuff to you.
We're not kidding.
Yeah, we're not kidding about
Alan.
this. Alan.
Alan.
Oh.
Alan.
Anyway, over to our review. Let's get...
Wait, first, is this the spoiler or or the non-spoiler?
We'll do a non-spoiler bit.
Okay.
Right, non-spoiler review.
Non-spoiler review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. This picks up 2 years after the events of Civil War, and Scott Lang is on the last days of his house arrest because of what he did by helping Team Cap.
Yeah.
And he caused all that damage and destruction.
As giant.
And because of what he has done, he has caused Hank Pym and Hope to be on the run for the last couple of years because the government's looking for them. And he has trouble filling his days at home.
Yeah.
And he has an ankle bracelet, and we see a scene where his leg comes out of the fence.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and the
And the
feds
FBI
storm
come.
the house.
Yeah, I guess that's about it. But then Hank and Hope have to re-engage with Ant-Man because he has...
He underwent quantum entanglement
Yes.
with Janet Van Dyne.
Janet Van Dyne, which is the mother of Hope. And,
Played by Michelle Pfeiffer
Yes.
in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he holds the key to unlocking her position in the quantum realm.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, the synopsis of
that's
the
the
film.
synopsis of the film.
Hilarity ensues.
Hilarity ensues. Scott Lang, of course, no stranger. No, not Scott Lang. Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
No stranger to comedy. He had his backgrounds in comedy. He's been in film business and TV for the past 20 years or so.
20, 25.
25 years,
Young.
and he still
Clueless.
looks the same.
Clueless. So good.
Still looks the same, except
He
that
does.
he's got packs now.
Except that he has packs now.
Age did him.
Well,
Well, yeah.
handed
I
him
feel like,
a nice...
everybody in this movie aged really well. Don't you
Yeah.
think?
Yes.
Michelle Pfeiffer aged like
She is.
Athena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When she was on screen, I was
She's
like,
so gorgeous. She has like platinum
blonde.
hair?
Yeah, I
hair,
was
yeah.
like, can I get some of this quantum realm? What's up? You know?
Beautiful.
All right, let's start off with Del. Let's give our thoughts on the movie before we move on to spoilers. Del, what did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp?
So the first movie I thought was just okay. So it was easy for this one to surpass it. So I really like this one. I thought it was funnier. I thought the dialogue for this one was really well written from the writers, which includes also Paul Rudd himself.
Oh, nice.
That's why I think he kind of wrote his own lines, which makes it more natural for him.
It's so funny.
And I thought the director really nailed the concept of enlarging and shrinking these superheroes to make them really pop on screen, and the technology probably has improved from the first one, and it looks really good, and just the action itself with this concept of shrinking and enlarging, it is done very, very well. I really liked it, and to include so much humor into this one, I thought was really brilliant, which I guess we'll talk about in the spoiler section because I don't want to go through the specifics.
Okay, Naz?
I really liked the movie. I think what stood out the most for me was, like Del said, the way they shrunk and enlarged and how they incorporated that during the battle scenes, like fight scenes. It was really good. That was, for me, the best, I think, when they had a fight in the kitchen.
Yeah, it became very apparent that shrinking and enlarging became part of their fighting style.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I thought the Wasp, her moves were really good. Like how she used blasters, shrunk, then charged into people.
Okay.
Humor, I thought it was funny, but I think I found the first movie funnier.
First movie.
For me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I really like what's his name? The Mexican guy.
Michael Pena.
Yeah, he
Luis.
stood out more. I think this movie.
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
Okay.
Baba Yaga.
Kai, your thoughts before we move into spoilers.
I agree with Naz. The first movie was definitely funnier, just because it was the first time being introduced to these set of characters. I didn't feel much for the villain.
No, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I felt like the villain was underwhelming.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole thing. I
She
just
wasn't the main villain, I
Not.
thought.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There were multiple villains in this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I have to say, I feel like Michelle Pfeiffer and Evangeline Lilly stole the show, though.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
true.
genuinely loved the two of them.
Every scene there's Evangeline Lilly. It's
Yeah.
like, you're gorgeous. Oh,
Yeah, and on top of that, like, her acting is so flawless in this one. Like, because in the first one she was playing like she felt neglected by her dad, she lost her mom. In this one, she's so chilled as Wasp. She's like, yeah, I got this.
Like she's coming to her own.
Yeah, and there were a lot of times where Ant-Man actually needed her help, and she was super calm about it, and she was making fun of it as well.
Yeah.
I loved Evangeline in this one, and obviously when we'll get there, but Michelle Pfeiffer stole every scene she was in my opinion.
Which is not a lot, but
it's
Yes.
really well
like enough
structured.
to win you over.
Like you know the scene was written about her. But yeah, I think overall, characterizations aside, I still felt the first one was a more enjoyable ride.
But this one is like when this is a case of how the first movie was the setup, and this one is like all the chains are off, and then you go into it.
Go on this ride. I thought that this movie, like Del, is better than the first because it's not an origin story anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, where we pick up the story is where Scott Lang, I think, is at his lowest, and he's trying to go straight, but there is a higher calling ultimately, which is to be that hero. And I have to give props to the actress who plays his daughter.
Yes.
Oh yes,
She was so
Cassie,
convincing in her role, like the daughter Cassie, who plays the daughter, of course, in the first Ant-Man movie. She becomes like an integral part of his whole journey through this movie because he's fighting this internal battle, like, do I become that hero or do I not? Because I want to see my daughter, I want to live a straight life.
Her.
Yeah.
Maybe you just need a partner.
And then, of course, we do dive more into the quantum realm, which I think will play a bigger part in Avengers 4 going forward. So that's always nice to see. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, I think we all are in agreement that this is a movie that you should check out in cinemas. With that, let's move on to spoilers. Our spoiler part of the review.
I feel like Lawrence Fishburne should have been the main villain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't sure about that whole bit at the end where he got his conscience back. It just didn't gel. I was like, wait, you were willing to kill the guy. There was a part where Michael Douglas's Hank Pym almost had fake the heart attack.
Fake the heart attack, but he was hesitant to give the pill.
Yeah, so like...
Or you could argue that he was thinking maybe he's lying about the heart attack.
But, there's this... It's a fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Suddenly, he's like, oh, yeah, no, you can't let this happen. It's like, what?
Yeah.
No, but I think what really turned the tide for him was when Ghost wanted to go after the little girl. So that kind of changed, like, hey, wait a minute, do we really want to do this?
Yeah. That's where he sort of, his conscience came back, and it's like, no, we leave that girl out of it because Ghost says it's okay, he has a family and and she threatened that. We didn't talk about this, but Ghost is a villain that we see in the trailers, and it's more explained in the movie of how she came about to be Ghost.
Yeah.
She was caught up in an accident.
There was a quantum break.
Like, her father used to work for Hank Pym.
Yeah. He's actually the original Ghost.
Like in the comics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
That's the original Ghost.
That's the original Ghost. So because of a lab experiment gone wrong, something about the quantum
there was
realm,
a breach in the quantum.
realm. So she is affected by this quantum blast, and her body is constantly trying to.
No, she's constantly, like, the molecules are like dying, and she's
being reconstructed back. So
over and over.
So she phases in and out.
Yeah.
That was a cool effect, though. By the way,
it was.
Yeah.
Like from what we see.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I mean, her motivations were not like rock solid.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they weren't really.
She just wanted to.
I guess the script required her to be bad.
Yeah.
So she was bad.
Yeah.
I felt the best part of this story was trying to find Janet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they really should have honed in on that.
We do get an idea of how vast the quantum realm is in the first Ant-Man movie, because there are those scenes where he's in the he's just there, and then it's just quiet and the weird things are happening. We don't really see those weird things happening anymore.
Yeah.
So is it because that they now have a better understanding of the quantum realm, or
I think it was more of something that served the plot. They needed a terrain, they needed a landscape, and that's what we got.
But then also they've gone 2 years trying to find her.
Yeah.
And then they've arrived to this point.
I feel like it would have been nicer if because there was another villain.
Yes, Mike Walton Goggins.
Wally Goggins.
Yeah.
Him.
Again, I was like,
he's more of a gangster role in this film.
Yeah, but he's like terrible.
He really is. I really felt like somebody should have noticed the quantum entanglement he went through, and somebody else wants that. Like, it's like a race against time. But, the lab, and then you had Ghost who wanted the powers.
It's a
little messy at times.
Yeah.
It's a little bit messy, but it serves the plot, like you mentioned, because this helps our main characters to be constantly on the run. Like, something's always happening.
Yeah,
either it's the gangsters coming in to try and steal their lab, or either it's Ghosts coming in also to try and steal their lab, and the lab becomes this focal point of the movie. What did you think of the effects of Ant-Man, Scott Lang, being big? I think he's bigger in this movie than he was.
Bigger.
I love how he
was 1/3 the size.
And how slow his movements were, like super slow, and how he couldn't get enough oxygen.
And he gets tired.
Yeah,
because it takes a lot more effort by him being that size.
It's more realistic.
He must have been hundreds of feet. Right?
Not hundreds, maybe maybe, I wouldn't say 100, but definitely bigger than
Way bigger than Civil War.
Civil
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I love when he was like child size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 1/3 size.
Yeah, he was 1/3 his size because he's wearing an experimental suit that Hank Pym has been working on, and it doesn't work.
Didn't malfunction quite a bit.
It doesn't work 100% of the time, and
Yeah.
there's this one bit in the movie where they go to a school because Cassie borrowed his
for show and tell.
his trophy for show and tell, and he hid the original Ant-Man suit
In the trophy.
there.
I thought that was brilliant writing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that was brilliant.
It was
Yeah.
good.
that was good.
World's best grandma, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Best Grandma, and it's held in by tape.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in this movie that made me.
And then I love that company is called XCon.
XCON,
Yeah.
Also, we've given a lot of credit to the ladies of this movie, but not forgetting Michael Douglas. I think he also came into his own
Yeah.
in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Could you not stir my daughter
he-
for 5 minutes?
He kind of, because in the previous movie, he didn't really show how abusive or angry
Yeah.
he is. Because
Yeah.
originally he's like an abusive husband, father.
Yeah.
And I liked how it showed that he's like, angry and all stuff, grumpy.
Very prideful and arrogant.
And I think a point to sort of bring across is that he didn't maybe realize that he was that way.
Yeah.
Because, it took Lawrence Fishburne's character to tell him, you were arrogant. Like,
Yeah.
you're proud and this and that.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of like, okay. But then he's still arrogant,
Yeah.
but,
I liked how it showed that. And I liked how there's 2 Ant-Mans in this movie. The original, which
Yeah,
is
and
Hank Pym,
Scott Lang.
and Scott.
And
I was excited when he put on the suit.
Yeah.
Me too.
I was super
Whoa.
happy. I was like,
I
nice.
was like, yes.
Nice.
My favorite part of the movie was that chase that they had, and prior to that chase, we see Michael Douglas come out holding a Hot Wheels
Yeah, that
rally
was
case,
funny.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great.
and he opened it and it's just cars, and then you're like, oh, this is so good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get me one of those rally cases.
I don't know. I got goosebumps when Michelle Pfeiffer reappeared.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With her hoodie.
With her Luke Skywalker hoodie.
You got the
Yeah.
feels, right?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't get feels, but
Oh.
it was...
Oh.
Like, so cool.
I got the feels when Michael Douglas finally realized that he has to be the one that goes into
Yeah,
the
to
quantum
find
realm
her,
to
yeah.
find her, to get her
Yeah.
back. And
Yeah.
he's like staring into the distance and he said, I'll get her back.
Yeah.
And I got the chills. I got the feels. But are we just gonna accept the fact that Michelle Pfeiffer or Janet Van Dyne comes out from the quantum realm and has some kind of superpowers?
It's not superpower.
Because
Like,
apparently
she
she's
absorbed...
been in there so
she's-
long,
yeah.
that
So-
she's been soaking up this
Sure.
quantum
And then
power.
she comes out, she takes one look at this girl and she's like, okay, I can fix you. Sure. Sure.
Well,
No, she spent like years in
30
there. So
years.
she's
30
probably
years.
like... And time is
30-hour
relative.
years.
Yeah.
She must have been there for thousands.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
time is relative there. So she's probably like absorbed all that wisdom.
And that's why I think in the next Avenger, she's gonna see Thanos and just slap him and we're done.
You are a bad boy.
And it's like, the hardest choice is, nope, not anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the film.
what?
She's
yeah.
gone.
Who?
She got snapped away.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean spoiler
Spoiler
alert? This
alert.
is the spoiler
Yeah.
section.
Post-credit scene number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, let's not talk about number 2 anymore.
Number 2 is
Number
something
two
you
is
see in the
horrible.
trailer.
Pointless.
No, but I don't know how many of you caught this in number 2.
I didn't.
There was an emergency broadcast on TV.
Ah,
Before-
yeah, because it was the whole...
Yeah.
Disappearing
And he said
thing.
it's not a hoax or a drill.
Yeah.
I
So-
don't see how that adds any weight to the scene.
No, it actually does. Because the point is, animals weren't affected by the snap.
Were they not?
The ant was
The
still
ant
there.
was still there.
It's half of the ant population that got snapped away.
Okay.
Well, they can recreate that in like another day. They breed really
Well,
fast.
but still, they got snapped away.
Oh, another spoiler alert is Hank mentioned time travel. He said don't go...
No, I think Janet did.
Janet.
Don't go into a time jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where it's beyond the quantum realm,
Yeah.
right?
That's fine.
But they don't know what that is. Only Janet has
Yeah.
experienced it.
So she could be the key
Yeah.
in Avengers 4.
Which makes sense. Like,
makes
you
sense.
know.
Scott Lang is now the key.
Yeah.
He's stuck in there.
Yeah.
So he might go into one.
I was a bit disappointed with that they had to show them dematerialize. You know,
Yeah.
like just to go, by the way, guys, Infinity War, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
The
like I would have been
ashes.
nicer knowing if just the ashes were on the floor. Like, not, they didn't just turn, they already, like, they were done.
I thought that was it. I thought that's what they showed us.
No, they
No,
showed
it's
the
like
ashes
They
falling.
actually
But it's
disappeared.
still just ashes.
Oh,
That's
it's
a bit
dramatic
picky,
effect.
aren't we?
Yeah.
Dramatic effect.
But my favorite parts were Louise going into his story mode again.
Yeah.
And,
I missed it. I really missed it.
What?
As in, I missed the whole movie. We haven't heard that until then.
Yeah.
Limited biscottis, man.
No, because he's already talkative. Then you put truth serum and it just makes him worse.
It's not truth serum.
Yes.
No, I said that the ending.
It is truth serum.
That was funny.
funny.
And I loved Bobby Cannavale's bits. He goes like, "Come here, buddy. Let me give you a hug." You know.
Yeah.
The wife's
new boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's super nice about it. I'm like, okay.
I think it's because of the events of the first movie.
Yeah, but I thought he was severely underused, and I like the parts with what's the actor's name? The guy.
Judy Greer?
No, the FBI guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
my favorite new
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
He's
It's like-
always funny.
Well, you can't do that. They can. Like every time she said, "You can't do this," and Bobby Cannavale would be
They
like,
can. Because he's a cop.
"Yeah, that's why."
Yeah, so he knows.
And then
it's
he was watching
great.
Magic University Online.
Yeah. What's his name now?
The actor's name
Kim, isn't it?
Ren-
His
Park?
last name
No,
Kim?
it's
Oh, Park.
Randall Park.
Randall
Yeah,
Park.
that's it.
He's
Yeah.
so funny.
He is really funny.
He's really funny. Also,
Did you want to get dinner?
Yeah.
I love
I
it.
saw it coming. I saw it.
Yeah.
anyway, if you can't tell by listening to us talk about this movie, this is definitely a fun ride.
It really
Yeah.
is.
You have to check it out in cinemas because it is something that deserves to be seen on the big screen. With that, let's give our ratings for this movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Del, your rating.
I'm giving this 8 shrinking cars out of 10.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Naz.
I give it 7.5 giant ants out
Cool.
of 10.
All right. Kai?
I gave it 8 years in the quantum realm.
Nice.
I don't know. I give it an 8. That's the point.
Am I the only one who's gonna do this? I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm giving it. I'm giving it
wow.
9
That's great.
Hank Pym serums out of 10 because I genuinely enjoyed myself in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a good action comedy flick that steps away from Avengers Infinity War
Yeah.
a little bit. It cleans the palate, because
Yeah.
everyone's feeling
fresh.
a bit,
It's fresh.
everyone's feeling a bit sour about what happened at the end of the last Marvel movie. And this is a good pick me up. This sort of points us in the direction of what's to come, which is where the quantum realm will play a bigger part in Avengers Infinity War and explain how everyone comes back. Maybe question mark.
I also should give props to the CG department for this film because the young Pfeiffer and Douglas shot in the beginning of the film
Yes.
was almost flawless.
that
So
flashback.
good.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was almost flawless.
But then it's almost, I thought it's like very similar to the first one with Michael Douglas.
that one you could see the shading
You
in
can?
the CG, yeah.
Okay.
But this one I wasn't able to. Maybe because it was a night scene.
We'll have to look back at the tape. But then, anyway, that's our review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. A very, very good movie. Do check it out in local cinemas, which brings us to our next bit of the show, which is...
Oi, apa lihat-lihat? Apa lihat-lihat? Hoi, kan semua kan? Apa lihat-lihat?
Apa lihat dia? 那看什么看？
Apa lihat-lihat? See what see? Xiao liao.
Yep, that's right. It's called Apa Liat Liat, and it's what else we've been watching this week besides Ant-Man and the Wasp. Del, see what?
See what see? See what? No.
Anyway.
Anyway.
What?
Don't know. Just buying some time. Trying to think of... Well, I've been watching this series which you guys introduced to me. Million Yen
Yeah,
Women.
Million Woman.
Yes.
We did an episode on that
Yeah.
back in, I don't know, episode 20 maybe?
Yeah, I'm on episode 9 and really eager to see what the ending is like. So I don't really have a lot of high hopes for it, but so far I guess it is still interesting. It still captivates my attention, so I guess that's a good thing. But also another thing that I've been watching was Hunt for Wilder People,
Okay.
the movie by
That's for the
With the movie Fire Feast.
yeah.
What is this?
And Sam Neill.
Vegetables.
and
That's
Sam Neill.
That's
Yes,
a good movie, yeah.
it's by Taika Waititi.
Yep.
The New Zealander. I don't really like it as much as I thought I would. What? Yeah, it's a bit kind of fantastical in a very realistic
I guess
setting.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
But then also it's a bit slow in the middle, which I don't know. I just didn't get into it as much as I thought I would or hoped that I would. But it is still a nice little movie to introduce you to the director.
Yeah, the style of Taika Waititi.
Yeah, his humor as well.
I think that was the last movie he did before Thor
Thor
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok,
Correct, yes.
That's
Yeah.
what got him to Ragnarok.
And there's
He's
a couple,
got-
and there's a couple of actors in Hunt for the Wilder People that appear in Thor Ragnarok, like
the
Grandmaster's assistant, who
played the child
the
service.
social worker.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Naz, apa lihat?
I watched what's the name again? The Silent Place again.
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet
Quiet-
Place. Yeah.
Not
That's
too
the
far.
sequel.
The
not too
Silent
far.
Place is the pirated one.
Sorry. Yeah. Quiet Place. It's still good. Oh yeah, we watched it at an open house, and then everyone got distracted by the movie during photo taking.
Really?
So we were like, just watching the screen. And then I watched Set It Up. It's on Netflix. It's Set It Up. It's got Zoe Dutch, Glenn Powell, Lucy Liu. It's directed by Claire Scannion.
Lucy Liu is still around?
She's still around.
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
She is.
So it's basically about Lucy Liu and this other guy. They're like workaholics, bosses, and their assistants are tired. Like they don't get a break.
Okay.
They don't have breaks. So these two assistants try to set them up to fall in love.
So it's a romantic
Ah,
comedy?
it's a romantic
rom-com.
comedy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not bad.
It's a Netflix original, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to Kai. Apa lihat? What have you been watching?
I've been watching Life Pass Me By, and I'm just.
Oh,
Hey.
getting philosophical.
No, not really. I've actually just been.
Someone's
I've
got
been,
the feels.
I've been on a musical binge.
Okay.
I've been watching musicals. Naturally, I watched a bunch of Disney cartoons, and then
Including Lion King 2, I presume?
only Lion King 2.
Or Lion King 1.5.
That doesn't exist.
Oh, it does.
I watched Hercules. I've watched.
Did you watch Aladdin as well?
Oh, I just watched Aladdin. I watched Aladdin.
No.
So you can talk to me about that, not talk to Kai.
I will never watch Aladdin again. And then I have to watch Les Miserables. I watched Sweeney Todd. I have to watch Les Miserables.
Wow.
At this point, you're just showing off, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, not really. I'm bored. So I'm going to cap everything off with La La Land.
He's bored and,
Okay.
and cultured.
So I did Sweeney Todd. I'm gonna do Les Miserables, and then I'm gonna do Greatest Showman, then La La Land. I'm skipping Mamma Mia.
Okay. But there's a Mamma Mia 2 coming out.
Not for me.
I will not watch that movie in the cinema.
All right.
Or, period, just not watch it at all.
Why?
I don't get it.
It's not for me. I've never liked ABBA.
Wow, that's offensive.
It's a personal choice.
Anyway, me.
Yes.
I just got a bunch of Blu-rays that came in.
I
And,
noticed! This is amazing! I saw The Fifth Element.
And today watched The Lost World, and I managed to squeeze in half of The Matrix, and me and Kai checked out a couple of scenes of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. One of the greatest movies of all time.
Agreed.
I have to say. So yeah, that's what we've been watching here on the Wayang Crew. Let us know what you've been watching. Play us out later on. Let us know what you've been watching at our email address and all our contacts down below in the description. I guess that's the show, guys.
Don't forget to go for the goodies that we're gonna get.
Yeah,
out.
we're giving away goodies, so do check out our Instagram
We
page.
ship to everywhere in the world,
Exactly. We will be
Including Alaska and Antarctica.
okay.
except Wakanda, because the borders are not open yet.
No FedEx, no DHL. It's all gonna be snail mail.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the show this week on the Wayang Crew. Do join us next week, where we will not be here. We will be giving you a placeholder episode because Del, myself, and Kai will be off chasing our dreams in Singapore. All right. So for the Wayang Crew, this is Cam signing off. Bye.
Alan.
Okay.
Alan. We should all open the episode with that. Alan.
Alan.
Alan. Del?
Alan?
Alan.
Alan?
He sounds so Chinese. Alan? Alan?
Alan.
The Chingosaurus.
Alan?
Alan.
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 Alan.